Welcome team, thanks for tuning in. So quick go over the answers for particularly 1A and 1B. This is around stability and balance, what we went through last week. So again, you're looking at that photo for the most balanced and stable individual, and key areas that we're looking at: base of support, center of gravity, line of gravity, and compensation. And your answer should include the top three. Compensation isn't included in that very clearly. So we'll just move through to the next one. Here we have the individual. It's a ruck and rugby. For those rugbies, actually could be penalised here, this individual, but the individual we're looking at is the most stable, is this one here. The reason being, first of all, he has a low centre of gravity. Yeah, he's bent his knees here, and that position there means that his centre of gravity is probably around this area here, which makes him very stable. The next point is he's got a wide base of support. He's actually got 4 points of contact compared to these other individuals, and these points of contact are stable, and these ones up in here is moving for these individuals here. With that wide base support, it allows a lot of area for his line of gravity, which intersects the center of gravity and is roughly in this position here, probably a little bit further back, just because his large area is just a bit back here. And that means that if it's in the middle of his base support, he is really stable. Lastly, obviously he's got his sprigs on, creating a bit of friction in that position there. He could even be more stable if he flexes his legs a little bit further in this position, his knee joint. Compensation isn't occurring too much in here because no other limbs are away from midline of the body, so it's not needed. So just check on your answer if you have included those three key points: the low center of gravity, the line of gravity, and the wide base support with the 4 points of contact. Make sure you include examples, and you can also lead in that the base of support and the line of gravity, they're all intersected together and work together. So on to your answer 1B. You can see in this photo, again, I've just drawn lines on just to help us indicate his points that we'll talk through. So the first one, the knee joint. So with this, I asked you to talk about the joint, and we had three joints that you had to go over. You had to go over the anatomical movement that's happening in that point, and the agonist and antagonist. So a reminder with that, the agonist is the contracting muscle, the working muscle, the prime mover, while the other one relaxes, and that's called the antagonist. So in this position, we'll start off with the knee. The knee is a hinge joint for the bones articulating at this point here. You can see that it's occurring in flexion. We've got a reduced angle, although it is not too far off extension in this position here, but he is bending down. For that flexion to occur at the hinge joint, the knee joint, we've got the hamstring as the agonist, and the quads at the front here is the antagonist. Moving to the hip joints, we've got flexion here, really reduced angle in this position, with some abduction. Again, that hip joint's just moved out slightly in this position. It's a ball and socket joint for those that went into that in-depth analysis. And the agonist, the working muscle, is the hip flexor, just in here. And then we've got the glutes in the back, which is the agonist. Although that would help, the glutes would help with some of the abduction as well. So they could be put down for a working muscle for the abduction movement that's slightly occurring. Remember, abduction is moving away from the midline of the body. Quickly onto the shoulder joint. We've got flexion here, right, in this position. For extension to happen, the shoulder joint is slightly different. Would mean if his shoulder, his arm was here, that would be extension. The further it is up here, it occurs into flexion. There we have some slight abduction with the shoulder joint on the arm outs. We've got the agonist as their deltoid, with some pectorals happening in this point here. And then we have the antagonist as the latimus dorsi in the back here. Lastly, as a little bonus, you can pause this before I give you the answer. You can think on your feet. you can think about the ankle joint here. So at the ankle joint, just quickly pause. I'll give you the answer now. The answer for this is that he's in dorsiflexion. It is a hinge joint, and the agonist is the tibialis anterior up here. When that contracts, it pulls this joint here up, and finally the antagonist is the gastrocnemius in the back. So make sure you check those answers, and for 2A, refer to the written answer that I'll include under files. Thank you.